So, hello everyone. For those of you who don't know me, my name's Catherine. I work for Solent NHS Trust in the communications team. I'm going to be the host for today's Zoom launch. So, thank you for giving up an hour of time this afternoon to hear about the What's It Like launch. During this Zoom session, you'll be able to hear about how the charity organisation Enable Ability has worked with us at Solent to create virtual video tours for some of our buildings in Portsmouth to help young service users sort of overcome their anxiety and sensory difficulties. So without further ado, I'd like to pass over to Angela Anderson, our Associate Nurse Director, to welcome you all.
Thank you, Catherine, and good afternoon, everybody. For those on camera, it's really lovely to see you, and it's so lovely to see so many people joining us, and that we've got 27 participants on the call so far, with people still joining. So I suppose that reinforces how important this work has been and is for our service users, for the children and young people who come in to receive services from us. So I want to start with apologies from Jackie Ardley, our chief nurse, who would have loved to have been here today. I'm afraid you've got me as her understudy, so hopefully I can do her justice. I guess for me, children's and family services is very close to my heart. It's where I've spent a significant amount of my nursing career. In that specialty, and I think we underestimate, we know ourselves as adults how nervous we can get, how unsure we are when we're going to an appointment, to a new place that we haven't been before, and when we're unwell, that anxiety, I think, is heightened. And so for our children and young people, it's just so important that we support them as best we can to make what's an already difficult experience as easy as possible. So I think a really, really huge thank you to Enable Ability for working with us and helping us to be able to do this really, really vital piece of work that will make such a difference to so many. And I think not just the children and young people themselves, but to their family member who's accompanying them as well. I think that that's critical. So really, really appreciate all the work you've done with us. And I think it's a really good example for the rest of our services and the NHS as a whole around the really positive things we can do together as communities. I think a very special thank you to Steve, who's on the call, who really made this happen, and really extend sincere thank you to you for giving us your time and your expertise to do that. I'll hand back to you, Catherine, and enjoy the afternoon, and thank you very much.
Thanks, Angela. So to sort of kickstart the session this afternoon, I understand we've got Bill John from Enable Ability, who's going to be explaining what's it like. Hi, Bill, you're waving, and how the what's it like aspect of the videos and technology fits into your overall strategy. So take it away.
Thank you very much. Again, I'd like to reciprocate the thank yous from Angela and Catherine and everybody else here for taking the time to get this this really a showcase for some of the work that Steve and his team have been doing. And I'll get through my bit, because the most important thing is to see what Steve has produced. But I think it's important to just reflect a little bit about Enable Ability itself. You probably don't know much about Enable Ability, and when I joined as a trustee some 3 years ago, I didn't know an awful lot at all, but it absolutely wowed me when I saw some of the services that we provided to young people with disabilities, both high needs and mild to moderate needs, right across the spectrum. It actually blew me away. I spent a lot of my time doing a lot of the marketing work, and the website itself. And if you want to see much more of what we do, you can look on the website. It's interesting to note that the charity is 70 years old. There's only one trustee in the team that's older than that. So, so it really just shows you a little bit about the fact that we've been through a huge development in the services that we provide, from starting off really with supporting people with cerebral palsy, and now to providing a huge range of services with people with various disabilities in Portsmouth and South East Hampshire. About 3 years ago, 2 years to 3 years ago, we sat down and looked at a strategic business plan, trying to understand where we had some gaps and where we saw our future. And one of those areas was in the provision of work experience. We found that a lot of our young people came to the end of their sort of service life with us at about the age of 25, because we couldn't get them, or they couldn't find themselves into any sort of meaningful employment. So we undertook 2 years ago, with the help of a national lottery grant, to create a service called Interactive. And that's when we met Steve Bond. We did the interactive thing and we met Steve. Now, why is What's It Like and Enableability a sort of a good match, I guess you're probably asking. Well, the first thing is that our looking forward, we were very keen to know that we couldn't do a lot of the things that we wanted to do on our own. And I'm sure the NHS knows that as well. And so we were looking for partnerships and for innovation. And that's certainly, innovation is certainly one of the things that is one of Steve's hallmarks. He certainly thinks a lot different the way that we do, but he also wants to make a difference in this area as well. So we were very, very pleased to be able to sort of put our arms around Steve and welcome him into the sort of enableability sort of workplace and see what he could do for us. So innovation and partnership was important. The other area that really hit was obviously this work experience thing, because Steve, one of the things that you should be very proud of is that the videos that you're going to see showcased here were actually developed by young people who have learning disabilities. With a bit of coaching and a bit of support, they've put these things together for you, and I think you'll be absolutely blown over by the quality of the output that they've produced. So providing us with a way for our young people to get work experience was very, very important. And that ticks another big box for us. And lastly, but not least, in our other services, I've sat in on forums with young people, teenagers and young adults, listening to what they thought were their primary concerns and needs. And they told me very, very clearly that that they get very anxious when they're trying to access services, particularly things like railways, bus services, and buildings as well. So we've got young users that are going to benefit directly from this as well. So they're helping shape the need as well. So it covers a whole wide range of our needs, and that's why we're very excited about, you know, what this can offer us going forward. We were very, very pleased to get funding to do what we've done for you through a grant from the Hampshire and Isle of Wight Community Fund, and that expired a few months ago, but Enableability itself decided that it wanted to match that funding to continue to explore the possibilities and look at areas in other sectors. So Steve is currently also putting stuff together now for a school in Havant, at Warblington School, and other areas, so that we can showcase its breadth of scope. And the scope is as far as your sort of mind can take you, really. This could be used in so many different areas. It's wide ranging. So my point here is that we can't continue to do this on a grant by grant basis. It won't exist. And so that's why I'm very thankful for this launch here, that hopefully will help us open doors and demonstrate that for a very, very relatively low cost, you know, we're looking to make sure that we have a balanced future here, which is based on some level of income from doing these things, not huge cost. So that's all I'll say about it, other than thank you very much again for taking the time out to do this, and I hope that what you see from Steve now is going to excite you as much as it has done us.
Thanks, Bill, for that overview. That was really, really helpful for us all to understand sort of where you've got to, and obviously sort of looking to the future. So thank you for that. So yeah, handing over to Steve now to sort of outline the videos themselves and give us a glimpse of them.
Yes, thank you very much, Catherine and Bill. And before I head off from this screen that I've got here, I just want to introduce you to Alex, Miles, and Nathan, who are part of our team that have developed all of the stuff that you see here. Designed, developed, delivered by people it's trying to help, which is a great thing. It's part of what I'm about, which is helping get people with alternative learning styles into employment. But it's also about building lived experience into what we're doing. So everything that we've got here has been developed by people who have gone through the sort of journeys that the people who will be using this are going through. And to me, I think that makes for a really, really interesting product. And so basically, I'm going to start off with Battenberg, and I'm going to give you a quick whistle-top tour of all the features that are available in here. And then I'll do a quick intro into Falcon House as well. And going through both of those, you will have basically seen pretty much everything that we've got to show in here. And then Catherine and Claire are going to talk more from the service user perspectives. So when you sign up for one of these tours, this is what you get. You get a screen. This is the home screen here. It's branded with NHS Solent or whichever organisation we're working for. And you get a home screen with a number of little thumbnails at the bottom. And you can either click on the thumbnails, and this is all the different content that we've got in here for Battenberg Child Development Centre, and you can see the images there, or I could click on the arrow and take you through that way as well. So there's a couple of ways of getting access into the materials. So right at the start, we've got an introduction. The lovely Claire, who is an actress that we use for a number of things, gives an introduction into how to use a virtual tour and what are the elements of it. And pretty much everything is based around the tour. So I'm going to kind of start on that. But the other elements we have a video, which we see the lovely Claire there, who talks at various points in the tour. This is just captures all of the video for people who prefer to just understand a regular video rather than the immersive things that we're doing. We have walkthroughs. I'll show you one of those later. And there's a range of the walkthroughs that are available as well to help people understand the place. Right on the tour, you basically click on the picture. And once you click on the picture, it then takes you into the virtual tour. So now we're inside Battenberg Child Development Centre, or in fact, we're just standing outside the entrance. And the first thing that you can do with this is that you can have a look around. So as a person who is new to the place, never been before, you can orientate yourself. You can see what it's going to look like when you arrive at the door. Now, arriving at the door is possibly the area of most anxiety. The journey getting there is an anxious moment, but you're standing there now. You kind of don't really know what to expect when you get to the place. And I can relate to that because when I did the filming here, it was exactly like that. We were in a COVID lockdown situation. I had no idea what I was going to expect when I walked through this hall into a place that was branded with NHS whilst the COVID was all going on. So this thing is kind of really useful for helping with that. On the outside, the other thing you'll see is a little video play button. And if you click on this, you'll see that the lovely Claire, who now...
My name's Claire, and I work here at Battenberg Child Development
I suspect
Centre.
You probably can't hear her.
And let me show you around.
But if you can, that's great. If not, you can read the thing. So what we do here, we have little video insets. It's only 5 or 10 seconds or so. But the idea is that we provide the information that's needed at this point. So when you're arriving at the entrance, what do you need? You need to be welcomed. You need to be, just given that warm welcome, put a face on it. You don't need to be told all the rules and everything that's going to happen inside. It's just a warm welcome. And that's how we use the videos throughout the tour. So let's start wandering in a little bit. So the first place we go to in Battenberg is the inside entrance. Now this is kind of the COVID station, if you like. So again, you've got the ability to look around and you can see where it fits within the place you're going to or where you've just come from. And in this case, you can see the COVID notices, the station, the hand sanitizer, the masks, it's all there for you. And I'm not going to show all the videos because I don't think it works particularly well over on Zoom. But now we've got a video here where Claire is talking about the COVID precautions and what to expect in terms of COVID and what you as arriving here are expected to do as well in terms of wearing a mask and using hand sanitizer and the social distancing, etc. So it's providing, again, the information where you need it. And then we can then wander through. So now we're getting into reception. Again, we see there's a little video play button. So that's now what information you'll need at reception, what to expect there. You can now start seeing inside the place. So you can, one of the things with this that I love is you can spend as long or as little as you like there. If this is something that fascinates you as a young person coming into here, you can spend 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes here. You can really have a good look around, or you can dash through to the next thing that's of interest to you. So I'm not going to go through the whole tour. You've got the link in chat. You can spend some time having a play with it and see how this works as you go deeper and deeper into the service, into some of the delivery rooms. But I did want to just show you a couple of other features while I'm here. So on the side here, we have this list. And if I click on that, it gives a list of all the rooms that are available in the place. And you can jump straight to a room, so you don't have to do the tour as I showed you. So let's have a look. Where should we go? Perhaps go and have a look at the waiting area. So if we just click on that button, it will automatically jump you into the waiting area. And you can see this is the main area. Again, there's a little video which talks about what to expect in the waiting area. You can see the social distancing in terms of the spaces that are laid out for different people. So you can pick up all these things, and you can literally jump anywhere you want around the place. If you want to see what a consulting room is like, for instance, because you know you're coming for a consultation, you can head into there and see inside one of the rooms or all of the rooms. You can go and look to your heart's content. So that's kind of what I wanted to show you. I think in Battenberg, if I've now just, with the benefit of my screen, I'm hoping this is going to work. I've now jumped to Falcon House. Please tell me you can see Falcon House. Somebody nod, thank you. So this is the second tour that we've created. So all of the facilities and features I've talked about in the Battenberg one, you'll find in here as well. So if we look along the bottom, we can see Catherine's video, which is for people who just want to understand the video, and all the information that's there collated into one edited video. We've got a walkthrough showing you what it's like at the entrance going into the place. And James later on is going to be talking about the last two things, which is we've created a Makaton version of the tour as well. So for people who are Makaton signers, they can get access to the same information in there. And the only thing I wanted to talk about with this is that you can see we have a virtual tour for Makaton, and we have a virtual tour, which is the main one. And basically the way we think about it is different layers. So we create a tour, which is the base layer, and that's the buildings. And then we can add on to that layer different things. So we can add on the information layer. We can make one that's suitable for Makaton. We can make one that's suitable for people with learning disabilities. We've got all that facility to add different layers of complexity and further levels of immersion based around this building block, which is the virtual tour. So if I now take you into Falcon House, which is great. I actually think I know these places probably as well as anybody who works in Falcon House. I've spent so long, and my team as well, working on the images and the panoramas. So it's fascinating. I love the place. So the thing I wanted to show you around Falcon House, slightly different, is this feature here, which is the map feature. So I'm going to click on that. So now we've created a schematic map of the place. And so this gives you another way of accessing what's in there. So for example, if you're working with a child and who's anxious about coming here, perhaps the thing you could go and do is, well, let's have a look at the play area. What's that all about? And just jump into a different place without having to go through any of the normal route into there. And so now we can see what Falcon House offers in terms of play area. Of course, there's ubiquitous video talking about access to the player and how you can use that and what it's there for. So you can spend some time looking at that and perhaps get a little bit more interest than you would do if you just started walking straight into the place. So we've got that feature as well, and from there we can totally bypass the main entrance, and we can enter into the building in that way. And once we get into the building, what happens is that the floor plan changes. So now we've got a map inside the building itself, and so we can see all the various rooms and we can jump to them. So we can jump to a therapy room or the waiting area, or in this case, perhaps let's just have a look in the family room. So this is a place where a lot of new people arrive. It's their first session in here. And I remember that because Catherine says so in the little video that's in there. So we can look around there and we can see there's a little play area at the back, and there's the big, I presume that's Disney picture. And so you can kind of get a sense of that kind of room, and then we can go back into the tour as well. So we've got the maps as another way of moving around the place. And the final thing in my last minute that I just wanted to show you briefly is the thing that I mentioned before, which is the walkthrough video. Now, I'm assuming you won't hear the voice on this, but at least you can see what the walkthrough video will look like. So if you click on that little logo that's in there, or any of the ones on the main screen, you can see now that we're going to take a little walk through the inside of the building.
To the end of the building, so please follow me.
And you can see that the words come up if you can't hear it. And you see the little map, which is something that Alex has created for us with a dot that follows it around, which is, I think, absolutely brilliant. So you get a sense of where you are in the building. And one of the things you don't get with a virtual tour, I'm going to pause it because the noise, I get the noise and it's irritating. What you don't get with the virtual, you don't really get a sense of space. You don't know how big the place is. It's kind of, you really don't get what a metre or 10 metres looks like in the tour. But this gives you that information because you're now actually walking at walking pace through the building with a map showing you how quickly you're transitioning through there. So that's kind of all I wanted to show you inside the tour. Outside the tour, we've got a couple of other features here. So if we go on to Catherine's video, we've got the ability to like one of these, ability to like Catherine's videos. So hopefully people will be giving us some feedback of what they really find useful and perhaps what they find less useful. And at any time in the tour, and this is something that came from the autistic designers. So we started this whole process off almost a year ago now with a hack day with some autistic coders at JP Morgan. And one of the things that they came up with was, rather than a traditional website, it would be great just to be able to go to a calming screen. So if you're watching something, you're getting anxious, you're getting, you know, frustrated with perhaps the technology, how great just to come back out and calm yourself down with this or another image that you find calming, and then get back in again and start learning a little bit more, rather than perhaps throwing something at the screen or what else you might do in that situation. So that's it for me. I'm going to stop sharing because I've said enough, I believe. Obviously, questions at the end can show you more or less. And if Catherine and Claire want to cover any extra areas, you know, I can reshare and show while they're talking as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. That was really, I don't know about everyone else, but I found that really, really interesting just to sort of see from that perspective, sort of navigating and all those different elements, like you say. So thank you very much for that. I believe we've got James Breeze next, who's kindly going to run us through the Makaton version. Is that right?
Hi, everyone. Yes, we did a Makaton accessible version of the tour. So we, you know, there are lots of young people who access our services who will have additional communication needs, or you know, that they may use Makaton as a preferred communication style. And you know, we addressed this and created a video, sort of simplified script with some signing to make it accessible for everyone who accesses our service. You know, we have the CAMS Learning Disability team based in Falcon House, so the vast majority of the young people who come through will, you know, have some communication needs, but also, you know, actually the inclusion agenda, everything like that. There are lots more people across mainstream services who are accessing other services within this building. So yeah, the idea was to make something that was inclusive and accessible for anyone that's coming in here. Yeah.
Show a little bit of the video. Would that be okay?
You want the whole video, yeah?
Well, just a really good flavour of it would be really nice to just show everybody, because the interesting thing that I don't think James mentioned there, it was all done on green screen, wasn't it?
Oh, yes.
So, and because of lockdown and everything that was going on there, so, you know, you, Steve and your team, you came up, you know, you were really imaginative of how we could actually do that and keep your staff safe, our staff safe, and produce this. So I'm really proud of this piece of work. Actually, James and your team have done an excellent.
So this is just showing you that the signs around Falcon House we've included in the tour as well. So we've created little videolets so that people who are looking at this door can then also access through a video the Makaton sign.
And also those Makaton signs have Braille on as well. So if your sight isn't very good, you can actually touch the signs for Braille.
Absolutely. So let me just go back to the video just to show this is the video tour. And
Have a little flavour. Thank you.
So, yeah.
Hello, my name is James. Welcome to Falcon House, the children's mental health service in Portsmouth. When you come to Falcon House, you will see these signs. They are to help you remember the rules like washing your hands and wearing a mask. When you come in, you will need to ring the bell and someone will come and open the door for you. This is the waiting room at Falcon House. This is where you will say hello to the staff. You will tell them your name and who you are meeting. You can wait here until the staff meet you, and then you will go through the door. If you need your blood pressure or your weight checked, the staff will wear an apron, gloves, and a mask. If you are meeting just to talk, the staff will wear a mask and you should wear a mask too. When the staff meet you, you will go through these doors.
That might be enough, Steve. That gives a really good flavour of what that video is about. Excellent. I'm so proud of that. I'm so proud of the whole project, actually.
It's really nice seeing it kind of there from seeing it, you know, in front of a green screen and me signing into an empty room. It's really nice seeing the end result and how it's all come together. And, you know, great work, Alex and the team, Steve, you know, kind of pulling everything together with Catherine modelling bits as I've signed as well. Yeah, it all looks really good.
Thank you for that, James. It's just, like you said, it's a brilliant example of how all bases have been covered, as you and Catherine are saying about the accessibility for all. So I think that is a really, really powerful example as one of the videos that we've got now. So thank you. Next, I think we've got Catherine and Claire, just sort of outlining sort of, some of the feedback received so far.
The feedback that we got from service users, ex-service users and Parent Voice. So I really want to say a big thank you to the Dynamite group and Natalie Abraham and the mothers, the parents, the fathers from the Parent Voice, who've all had input into this, as well as Steve's groups as well. And every time we got that feedback, we adapted or changed, because, and it really opens my eyes actually to what I take for granted, and the way as services we just need to tweak things. Often we don't have to make huge changes, but actually it makes it so much easier for people who have some kind of different way of learning, different way of sensing things, processing information. So that's been really great to get that feedback. We've used a few of the videos already. We've sent them out to young people who've had anxiety issues about coming, and the feedback has been really positive and very reassuring. We try and make it as welcoming as we possibly can. So that's been the feedback so far. Now that we're launching it, I anticipate it going out on all of our websites, on our literature. We've already got it on our letters that go out for first appointments or any kind of appointment, that people can go onto the link. We're looking at getting it put on our text messaging as well, so that when you get an appointment, you can follow this link and you can then access information about the service, just so that we can get those little, well, no, they're huge barriers for something, but a little bit of information to bash down a big barrier. So that's what we're hoping to do.
So not much to add really. I mean, we're obviously, I'm Claire, and obviously Catherine represents most of the services at Falcon House, and I represent the services at Battenberg, the first health centre that you saw there. And to be honest, we're at very, very early stages. So obviously because of lockdown, we were offering quite a lot of our clinical appointments remotely, on video link to start with, although we do have young people coming into the centre. And so, as Catherine said, now that we're at the launch stage, we'll be making sure that this What's It Like resource is available to anyone who needs to come to the clinic and would like to perhaps get an idea about what it's like, what's it going to be like when they come in. And I think what's nice about the video is that we've been able to make it really relevant to what's going on right now. So we've been able to use the video as well as showing what's it like when you come in here, what do the therapy rooms look like, the consultation rooms. We've been able to perhaps allay some concerns or anxieties around coronavirus and what's going on, and how our service is going to be a bit different at the moment because of coronavirus. And I do hope that is helpful for the people that come that need to come into Battenberg and Falcon.
Thank you, Catherine and Claire, for that. You sort of come next to our sort of Q&A session, but I thought it would be nice just to read out some of the really nice comments that are popping up in the chat box for those of you who haven't seen them. So Nicola says, really superb. I can see so much thought gone into this. Fantastic video, everyone. Lavinia said, really good. Jay saying, great video, really fab. Sarah Parsons, love the possibilities for those added layers. And Caroline, great to see this. So we're going on to a few questions that have popped in the box as well. Jay is asking, how popular is Makaton and how many people use it?
I think lots of young people with additional needs will use Makaton. I saw that question. I had a quick look on the website, on Makaton charity website, and they say there's over 100,000 people using Makaton. There are also other adapted sign language sort of technologies that are in use, but Makaton is one of the most well known. So there are a large number of people that will use it, or they'll use bits of it, or they'll use it in combination with other things.
A lot of the baby signing classes use Makaton signs within that. You know, you'll be quite surprised how many Makaton signs you know without realising you're doing Makaton actually.
And in terms of the background and the journey of it, this was something that we kind of all know about Makaton. It's a part of our lives, but it didn't really occur to us to put it into the tour until we sent it out for feedback. And feedback came back quite simply from young people. Can we have a Makaton version, please? Well, wow, yeah. Then we just had to work out who around the place knows enough Makaton to do this. Thank you, James.
That just goes to show, doesn't it, Steve, like we've been saying throughout the session so far, that how important that feedback is to guide and to allow us to tweak content and just adapt to provide the sort of the very best and most positive and calming experience for our service users. So looking at further questions, I've got one myself. Forget that I'm in communications, I'm just interested beyond that. How long did the videos take to make? I know that I appreciate there were edits, and obviously Catherine said about a green screen, but obviously they're so thorough. I was just curious about how long they took roughly to make.
So there's two elements to it, and I think this is all part about, you know, what it's like for us to come into your organisation and create one of these things. And so I can put it within that sort of context as well. Now, obviously, Catherine and Claire were the guinea pigs for this, that we were learning. We came with an idea and the cameras and stuff, but we were learning as we went along. We're getting much more efficient now at creating these things. So thank you both for bearing with us while we were going through that. We were also doing it during lockdown, and so we were working out how to do virtual direction. So Alex was on the end of a phone directing me with an iPad that was looking at a camera that was looking at Catherine, that was talking at something, goodness knows what she was talking at. So it was quite a convoluted process. So how long it took us to video Catherine is probably not the answer you're looking for with this one. So when we arrived, basically something like Battenberg or Falcon House, we can probably, with a bit of preparation, create all the panoramas that create the virtual tour in just over an hour. It's about that sort of amount. We've done one for Warblington School, which has got a couple of 100 panoramas in it, and that's taken us about 6 or 7 hours. So that's quite an involvement, you know, that we require access to the place. It's pretty much got to be empty because we need empty rooms to take the panoramas in, but they only need to be empty for about a minute or two. So when we do GP surgeries, the GP just goes and stands out in the corridor while we go in, take a panel in the room, and then they go back to their Zoom, their call, or whatever they're working on. So we can work around those, but we kind of need empty rooms as they will be when the people arrive in them. So it's got to be sort of set up in that sort of way. So in Warblington School, we had to take the chairs off the tables, darn it, that they were set up. So you can imagine how many times David, who I know is on the call, and myself were taking chairs up and down from tables. So about an hour or so of panoramas to do that. And the videos, it kind of depends, but I would say that we can now create, in terms of the recording, the sort of content that Catherine and Claire put together in an hour without any problem whatsoever, and get all of those. Each time we take 2 or 3 shots so that Alex can edit them all together. And it's quite relaxed. We don't want to be scripted. We want people just to say that the guys, you guys know what your service is, so you can talk from the heart while you're virtually welcoming people, and that's kind of what we want. So there's not a lot of preparation to it. And yeah, about an hour would create each one of those videos.
And then doing with Alex remotely, that was an interesting, very interesting experience as well. So yeah. That was lockdown for you.
And then the other beauty of these is that as things change, we can just change a small section of video, or if it's the room changes, so if you change the decoration, or indeed if you want to put a damn Christmas tree up in your waiting area, it is simply a case of take a pano, upload it, and it automatically flows through into the rest of the tour. It's a very, very simple process for updating these things.
The other thing that we haven't mentioned as well is that the fact that the COVID guidance changed a lot, didn't it, Steve? As we get something shot how it was at that week, and then the government would change the guidance on it the following week. So we've tried to get it as up to date as we possibly could at that moment in time. But like you said, we can go in and change those things. So
I'm just reading a couple more comments coming in. And Natalie saying it was a pleasure to link in and feedback on this, and PPV know these will help support and reassure families. Cara's saying, have loved seeing the videos. Will they be available on the local offer? So yeah, I think obviously, like Catherine was saying, our plan is to obviously continue rolling out the links to all the different kind of sort of platforms and channels and known audiences that we've already got. So that work will continue after today's event. It's great to see this, looks very polished, can see so many ways it can be useful, and that was from Laura.
I think there's a question from Nicola about, will Catherine's tips on filming be part of the toolkit for this? No, absolutely. We are we're collating all of that, and we share them with new people that we're working with now. It's something that we will certainly be putting on our website, and whenever we go talking to people, absolutely, these are important things that came out from it, so we'll share it. Yeah,
I've got a couple of sort of 2 questions in my head, if it's okay to ask. One is, in terms of Solent, have we got any other sort of future plans to sort of replicate these videos sort of at our other buildings or services or facilities? And the second one is to Steve, and obviously what's next for you in terms of the what's it like work? Obviously you've said about the school, but do you have other sort of projects that you're working on?
So I think what we'd want to do with this is, as with anything else that we do in terms of new initiatives, is to see what benefit it would have for our families at Falcon House and Battenberg. So I think it would be really good to have a fairly robust evaluation of the use of this link. Steve, I don't know whether you'll be doing any that you can share with us, or whether that's something that we do, or a bit of both. But that would then inform what we do going forward, I think.
Yeah, I certainly agree. I think an evaluation and looking at impact is the word that in the charity sector we use for understanding the difference it makes by having this in place. Now, obviously, a lot of the impact will come from you and your service users, because you've got that relationship, that connection with them in terms of getting that feedback together. We have some information that we get, like the little green smiley faces and things, so there's some feedback through the app that we will certainly be collating, and the amount of views that we have in various parts of it, so we can collate that sort of information as well. But I absolutely agree. I think we need to be really clear about where the value is for this, so that we can focus on all of that. And I am a researcher at heart, so there is that's something that's very dear to me, is making sure there's some really robust evidence around what we're doing, from what is a good idea, what seems intuitively appealing to have. Does it actually really do anything, or is it just a nice pretty video? Is very much the question that we want to get some answers to.
Yeah, and it's absolutely started all off in exactly the right way, hasn't it? It's been led by the needs of our service users, and what's to address a problem that they've had, as was really clearly stated by Bill's talk and your talk, Steve, about what people need to help them when they're coming along to a new setting. So I think it's been fantastic, and there's been engagement with Portsmouth's Parent Voice, which is fantastic. It's been co-produced in that sense. It's got it is accessible information, so that's fantastic. And then it's even more accessible because of the Macathon. This is all really good stuff. And the evaluation isn't, in my view, a sort of, oh, well, we've got to see if it works or not, but I think it is an important part of the process.
In terms of the second part then of your question, Catherine, where next? Well, it's just the possibilities for me are just astronomical in terms of what this can be used for. I'm really keen to set something up for young people in terms of their independent living, and supporting young people with disabilities going through that journey. That's very close to my heart. And we're talking with a bus company of all places to find out what it would be like if we put our cameras inside a bus. And start getting people used to what a bus journey would look like and be on without actually being in the bus. And the things that you don't get with the 2 tours that we've showed today is what happens when you put a virtual reality headset on. So you immerse somebody into that environment. So you put someone sitting in this chair now with a headset on, going on a bus journey. You get all of the sensory information about that, the crowds, the people around you, the motion of the bus. You can start mirroring all of that using a deeper layer or deeper level of immersive technology. So the prospects around that are really exciting. We prototyped that with Portsmouth Football Club, and it was just quite amazing, just going into an empty stadium, looking around, putting the headset on and watching Portsmouth score a goal with the crowd around you. And my son did that, and he was leaping up and cheering. He was so immersed in that environment, which gave me really great confidence. My personal challenge at the moment is, and it was really interesting when Angela was talking about going off and working through the vaccine and the plans and strategies for that, because I want to create a what's it like for vaccine distribution, so that there are a whole bunch of things that are going to happen in the very near future, which are kind of mass delivered, if you like. So it could be breast cancer screening, where we've heard there's 1 million people who haven't had it during the COVID pandemic. So there's going to be this huge quantity of people who need this service. The vaccine, there's going to be 60 million or thereabouts people who are going to be getting vaccinated over a fairly short period of time. And the challenge here is to make sure that is done equitably. So part of the process is going to be about, let's get as many people through that door as we possibly can and get them vaccinated. But let's make sure that anxious people get exactly the same access to that as everybody else gets. And let's not forget, there is a smaller population, while we're thinking about numbers and headlines and dashboards and things like that, there's a smaller population who perhaps even have a greater need, but may find it more difficult to access something like that than the rest of the population. So yeah, I want to create a what's it like for vaccination. So if anyone's got a contact, please let me know.
I would just like to say a huge thank you to Steve and the team for all of their work in creating and producing the videos. I'd like to thank all of our speakers today who have given their valuable insights into the videos. And I don't know about yourselves, but I really feel like the videos are going to have a really positive impact on on helping support the children and young people using our services, and it will have a real positive difference on helping in sort of their anxiety and coming to our facilities. So thank you very much.
Thank you for organising, Catherine. Much appreciated.
Thank you.